Guess who's coming to dinner? Okay, and now I have a very special guest that I mentioned to you earlier. And I'd like to introduce to some and present to others Miss Wanda Mitchell Smith, who was the commissioner for the Juneteenth festivities here in Louisville, Kentucky. Good afternoon, Wanda.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, it wouldn't have been right not to have you. I mean, you have to be the icing on the cake.
Well,
You
we
know.
we worked as a team and we did what we could do for the community, and we're pleased with the efforts that turned out. So I'm excited that everyone else is excited.
Well, you know what? I think um, it was an event. The whole week of festivities was
Yes,
just on point.
yes,
I can't think of anything. Well, we've got this mishap now with somebody assaulting the mayor, but I mean that's absolutely horrible.
yes, it
Um,
was, and it's very unfortunate that that individual felt the need to be able to do something like that, and so we're
yeah.
just going to pray for them and
Yes.
that they will find peace that surpasses all understanding within them. So
Yes.
we will move forward as he has, and as Michelle Obama says, when they go low,
We
we're
go
going
high.
high.
Hey,
So
all right.
we're going high.
So, Wanda, tell me what was interesting. What made you want to be the captain of this ship?
Well, actually, it was an assignment when I initially spoke to the mayor regarding the organizing a commission and codifying them so that
Mhm.
there will be people to from the community to be able to speak. He was all in for it, and then he immediately said, well, I'm going to appoint you as my chair for that. And I was like, for last year I was like, well, okay, I think I can do that. And
Okay.
then so when we came back again this year, he said, well, I still want you to chair it, and I was like,
Okay.
well, okay, then, but I will say that we have a group of people, of community leaders, and they are so, um, um, they're so wonderful to be able to work with. They give it their all, and it's a very diverse group, and that's what makes it very special for us to be able to come up with the programs and events that we have, and then people just begin to reach out so that that it's in order when those things start coming around, and everything, and people start calling you and say, I want to participate. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. And so that's exactly what happened, and in this instance, and from last year, as we were coming out of COVID, we could not do some of the things that we wanted to do last year,
Right. Right.
so that we wanted to be. But this year we had two inaugural events, and I think that they both turned out very well. And then there were other community partners that joined in. And so that's what you see that's happened over this past week, Janice. And I think that it's been very marvelous for everyone to participate in this Juneteenth.
So the two inaugural events were the gala and
And the pageant,
luncheon.
the pageant, we had
Oh, the pageant.
we
Okay.
had a
Okay.
this Juneteenth pageant, and she attended the gala.
Okay.
And
I met her.
very nice young lady.
Yes,
But and the
absolutely.
mayor was there to crown, the participants and everything.
Hmm.
But WLOU and Crystal Goodnar and reached out, and Kiara reached out to me and said, we would like to do a pageant, and everything for Miss Juneteenth. And I said, how wonderful. And so they began to work on that project. And once she was actually crowned, then of course we needed for her to be able to attend our inaugural gala, of which she did. So it's a very wonderful occasion to be able to do that, to have two inaugural events in the same week.
Yeah, I think you all did a fantastic job of just the kinds of events you had. The luncheon was wonderful.
the
And
60-year civil rights, we had to, with this process, Janice, what we're trying to do is to educate everyone on what Juneteenth is and
right,
and what it stands for. And
right,
so that is very significant. And so you couldn't do this type of thing not celebrating what we have gone through during civil rights,
right.
and thing. And the prerequisite to all of it was when the divine, no, excuse me, not the Divine Nine, but when the Six were at the Fraser Museum, the Black Six, and
Yes,
it was at there. And so that was just the preempt of going into the civil rights, and then from there, doing all the rest of it. So it was very encouraging. We're getting a lot of things from the community, a lot of great feedback from the community. Some things that we need to look at differently for next year, and how
hmm,
being we're trying to be all inclusive,
right.
and opening the city up so that it will be able to celebrate Juneteenth in its fullest.
Right. Well, one of the things I was talking to as a part of this broadcast, Joy was just on a few minutes ago, and we were talking. I had her talk about Lean Into Louisville and how, her participation and her program worked, and why she thought it important to be a sponsor for the redistricting
Oh,
panel that we had, because I thoroughly enjoyed that one as well.
I'm so glad that you did. And we had, quite a few to go online to watch it. But it is very, it's those types of things, Janice, that just sometimes gets by us and escapes us, and we get too busy and we get too caught up with the day to day. But
Right,
go through those things, other things are happening to us that we need to stay on point with and to be aware. Not only did we do the redistricting, but we had the um, the event at First Gethsemane on the Buffalo Soldiers, and
right, right,
you know, everything, and on our troops that were involved in the wars, and the genealogy that went behind all of that, and rolling that out. And it was very interesting to see, some of the documents that were discovered and being displayed, and such, so that as we go through Juneteenth, we don't need to lose the significance. It's wonderful to be able to celebrate. It's wonderful, but we must absolutely educate along the way as well.
as well. Every event, the things that I took away from it, Wanda, was that at every event, and I didn't go to every event, so I don't know that it didn't happen. But every event has to know just what happened on Juneteenth. You
Absolutely.
know,
Yes.
I was watching on Saturday. They had the Lincoln Memorial dedication.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I saw some of that because also on Saturday, what we did is that we went to um, Berrytown for
Berrytown. You all had something out in Berrytown.
yeah,
Yeah.
the youth jamboree. And so many people said, well, Berrytown is so far out. A lot of people don't want to go that far out. But
Hmm.
we wanted it to be in Berrytown because Berrytown is historic for the African American community.
Community.
It's
Right.
a Black settlement that happened there years ago, and it still exists to this day. So
Right.
wanted to make sure that we touched on that and to try to get it out to the skirts where there are Black settlements, Newburgh being another, you
Right.
know thing. And so we need to know our history. We need to make sure that we keep those things safe, and that we cherish those things as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Yes.
the one thing that I thought about when it was all over, in looking back to maybe what could happen, I was wondering. I was thinking about large crowds, and I
Yes.
know large crowds are something that a lot of people might want to veer away from.
Of course.
due to all of the activities that are going. It doesn't matter if it's in Shawnee Park or if it's on at the waterfront.
Correct.
But I was thinking about something because this is so important that the masses needed to be at least some place where we could have thousands and thousands of Black folks listening to what Juneteenth is and why we should celebrate it, and being able to bring their children and just have some type of outdoor festive affair that I thought would bring more, because there were so many and some things people couldn't afford. But
Of
I
course.
think there could be something that this is just my little, maybe you might consider it for
No,
next year.
I think that it's marvelous, and of course, we would love to be able to work on, larger crowds and everything, but we want
Right,
the safety measures and everything to be there,
right.
and stuff. But there were so many things that were going on this week, this past week. It was Pride Week. This is Pride Month, and so that was taking place also at the waterfront and the parade was happening,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then there was the Funk Festival, I think is what it's called, that is also at the waterfront. And there were so many things that were going on at the same time
Hmm.
in this period, but it just all of it kind of worked together, and made it a more festive occasion. But to your point, one of the things that we have talked about having is, it's very difficult to get our HBCUs together during the time of June
Hmm.
because school is out.
It was out, right,
But one of the things that we have discussed is to be able to have the drumline competition, from our HBCUs to come in and do something of that nature. The Panhellenic, our Black Greek organizations mean a lot to us as
right.
a community. And so we're getting them more engaged, we're getting them more involved, and we're excited about what God has in store for next year. But we also want to make sure that there are a lot of safety measures and precautions that are put into place.
Absolutely. But this, you did a fabulous job this year. Don't
But
get me wrong. You did a
no,
fabulous, all of you all did a fabulous job for our first real official. And now I didn't know it had been really deemed a national holiday as well.
yes, yes.
I said,
President
whoa.
Biden had deemed it last year, but a lot of these things we wasn't able to come out with because of COVID, and we
Right,
still, be safe around others and everything. But no, it's been in the works. I know how much of a struggle that it was for the King celebration to happen. It took years for the King holiday to come into fruition.
right.
So we want to chart efforts that President Biden did it as a national holiday,
Hmm.
and then Governor Bashir signed the documentation. Representative Brown did it in this past legislative session and passed it. But in passing these things and in doing these things, we want it to be honored and looked at in referencing to, um, just as you do the 4th of July, just as
Right,
you do
right,
other holidays and everything, where the people will actually be able to schedule time off and spend with their families, and to be able to teach. This year we really focused on teaching, and at the Jamboree at Berrytown, we had a lot of Juneteenth educational materials that was there in books and different things that where the children were read the Juneteenth story so that we can plant that seed
okay,
early. And we had the educational materials brought in according to age group, even from toddlers. We had little pop-up books that toddlers could have, and then it
wow,
waited right on through, to high school students. And the parents that were there, they were just so excited that we had educational materials. The young man that did that section for us is Brandon Hill, and he has a nonprofit called RUN, and we it was just so nice. We even had haircuts and things like that going on out there. So that we're the holistic approach, the educational approach, the fun stuff. That's a good thing with the physical
right.
festivities, and then and then to be able to have our health part, with the grooming, and Norton's was out there, and various things. So we had partnered with a lot of folks to be able to carry on. Papa John's provided pizzas for everyone out there at
Okay.
at the whole 9 yards. So that was a very exciting time. But in all things that we do, we want to make sure that our history is the history. Our theme this year was Our Story, America's Glory. We use that throughout because it should be in the history books. It should be taught in school. And so that's another caveat that we want to start working on, to make sure that the history is going to be taught as a part of American history in our school systems.
Yeah, because that critical race theory thing about they don't want to teach our Black history, but my answer to that is, but it happened.
It happened,
It happened. You can't wish
and
that away.
well, and then, but you can't separate the histories. You
No,
can't separate them. You might want to try to do that, but our history is American history. You know,
absolutely.
and what all we implemented, and each time you go to a red light, that was a Black man that
A
made
Black
that.
man. Yeah,
Each time you
absolutely.
go into the hospital, that was, with blood plasma, that was a Black man that did that.
Look, your
You know,
GPS,
so absolutely.
your
You
GPS
know,
in your car,
in your
a
car,
sister.
all of those things, it's a part of our history,
Yeah.
and it should be shared. And it's something that we should all be proud of, regardless of whether you're Latino, whether you're Black, whether you're white, wherever you're from, we should all be proud of. And when we do that, we'll get someplace. We will get someplace working together.
Well, and that whole working together theme
Yes.
has just was threaded through the whole thing, wasn't it, Wanda?
Yes, it was.
With with,
Yes, it
with the
was.
mayor's apology,
Yes.
with Dr. Corey Scholl's keynote speech.
Keynote
Oh,
speech.
girl,
He
please.
he brought it. He brought it big time, and everything.
I
Uh,
mean,
but
it almost make
but
you want to I just want
it,
to
it
jump out
makes
of my seat.
it makes you want to shout,
Yeah, makes you
and
want to
everything.
shout. Yes,
It
it
really
does.
does. It makes you want to shout,
Yeah.
because all of these years, and that had never been done, and everything, and it was done on that day. That was a historic moment, and I'm just so glad that I was there to be able to see it and to be able to share in that moment as with you. That's something that I will never forget, and seeing, is that the institution apologized for the
Yes.
treatment,
Yes.
and everything, and then the message behind that. So it was very powerful, and that just took us just a little bit higher, Janice,
It did.
and
I
everything.
said, I
Just
don't
took us a
know.
little bit higher.
I said on my podcast, I said, I don't know of anybody that has ever apologized to us for anything
Correct.
that has
Correct.
been
And
done wrongfully towards the
towards
African
Black,
American race.
yes, towards
No,
Black
nobody's
people.
apologized for anything.
And I guess that's why, for me, I was a little disheartened when the incident happened,
Yes.
and everything, to the mayor,
Yeah.
and stuff. But I love his posture, on it, because he said it's the times that we live in. It's, it
Okay,
happened.
so let me ask you this, Wanda. So that segment that they had him speaking after they talked about the incident, that's after it had happened. That wasn't
That
something
was
from before.
after, no, because
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering. Oh,
no, that was after it
okay.
happened.
Okay.
It was on yesterday,
Hmm.
and yes, I was staffing him at that time. On yesterday, I was staffing him. I wasn't staffing him on Saturday when the incident happened, but I
Hmm.
was staffing him at the event that he was getting ready to enter in, and that
Hmm.
was the LCCC's um Juneteenth event that they had, and it was very beautifully done, where they honored him and they surprised him with a plaque that they gave him for his leadership in equity for the city of
Oh,
Louisville. And
wow.
yes, they certainly did. He was
Wonderful.
very surprised to receive that.
Oh, well, that's great. That's really great.
Yes,
I told Greg, I said, I don't know who thought about the mantra for Louisville being compassionate, but we're working on it. But I
yes.
think he is a compassionate mayor.
Yes. He didn't, he took the blow. He didn't, try to strike back, and we move forward. But that's
Yeah,
something that he tells us inside of the office, because sometimes, our flesh is one that wants to react in a certain
absolutely.
way, and everything. And he says, no, we set the bar very high. We are the leaders and we're going to set the bar very high. And that's something that he requires of us, within his administration. So I'm blessed to be working there. I really and truly am, and to be able to have this opportunity.
Well, you made good on your work. You get high marks from me.
Bless you. Well, we know that all things work together, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For the
Yes,
good.
ma'am. For
So
the good.
so we
That's
just
right.
we just go on and we march in lockstep with one another. There is no big I or little me. We
Right.
are all one. So
We
we
just do
we
what we
do
have to
that.
do.
We just do what we have to do to get the job done for
Right.
the greater
And we have
good
to
of the
keep doing
people.
it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the
And that's
one of the
the
go on.
exciting thing is because that we've got young people such as Joy McAtee coming behind, and
Yes,
everything. And you know that it's going to be when you have young adults such as she, that things are going to be going in the right direction. And so
absolutely.
so that's very exciting. And so when you decide that, okay, my time is up, it's time for these young people to step forward, to take place and everything, it's good because they're ready.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And we all need to be grooming somebody,
Absolutely, and
to
everything.
take our place,
I,
in
I'm
every profession, every area, somebody needs to have some young adult um, shadowing them,
correct. Correct.
not when you're getting ready, 2 days before you're getting ready to retire,
No, and it's a
along the way.
it's a mentorship, it's a
Yes,
process,
absolutely.
and I take that very seriously because I've been blessed to be able to do it for quite a few. And it is when I see them do, I just get so filled up
Yeah.
because I'm looking at them, I'm like, go on, y'all just go on and do it, and everything. It just makes me so proud,
Yes.
to watch them and to see them work, and everything. So it's a very crowning moment. It really and truly is. I'm so glad that you were at the gala, and I'm so glad that you had a great time. It was a wonderful
Oh, I had a fabulous time, and it just felt good to be amongst the people.
people. Yes. And
Everybody was hugging and kissing. And,
yes.
Louisvillians, we some huggers and some kissers.
Yes, we are. And
And
it's a good
and
thing.
we're social, very
Yes.
social. So it,
Yes.
it was it was right in line with who we are.
Absolutely.
Right
And
in line with who we
and I
are.
will tell you that the vendors that we used for the event were Black vendors that we used
Oh,
for them,
sincerely
and
yours
she's
got
all
down
that.
with the meal.
She's all that. Yes. When we went through the menu, she said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want to take it home. I
Yes.
want to take it home." And it
Yeah.
was very elegantly done. And she did a fabulous job. And then
Fabulous job.
I want to say the Hankins, Peggy and Monty Hankins, the decor was simply beautiful,
Absolutely.
and
I
everything.
brought me some roses home.
Good for you. I'm so glad you did because there were plenty to take home.
They were
And then
beautiful.
with the music, we had something for every age group that was
Yes.
there. And
Yes.
that was Vessel Management that did that. So we had orchestra, we had, um, whatever it's
A
called,
little down
all,
home
all the
blues.
the blues. And speaking of blues, I remember your singing as well, and everything, and you still have a beautiful voice. So we'll have to get you back out there.
Okay. We'll work on
Absolutely.
we'll
We're
work on
going to
that.
work on that. We're going to work on that'll be great.
Well, Wanda, I want to thank you just for really taking the time out to try to help me cap off what this weekend was like for those people that did not participate in Juneteenth or really don't understand what it was all about. I'm hoping that today we were able to show you what we can do when we do come together,
Absolutely.
and how we celebrate our ancestors and what
Yes.
they went through. I was telling Joy, I had to throw this other tidbit in. The one thing that I started thinking about, I watched the global Juneteenth on CNN last night,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and that was off the chain.
Yes.
That's what I guess I kind of mean, that we could have something outdoors like that, because we got enough talent in this city to fill up a whole day with music.
We absolutely do. And
Sure.
we're going to, we will take next week to just have some breathing time. But
Yeah,
the
you got
first
plenty of
week,
time, but
the
you got
first,
you already got a good head start.
yes, the second week in July, the commissioners will come back together and we'll start planning and organizing for 23.
All right. Well, that
Yes.
sounds great. I look forward to it. I was actually supposed to be in Las Vegas this weekend for their Juneteenth.
Oh, okay.
But to see that we're having our own, and see, they were trying to get me to come for next year. I said, no, I don't know. I had to see what's going on in the Ville first,
In the
honey.
Ville, in the
In the Ville
Ville.
first, yes.
We might need you in the Ville to
Well,
help us
I
out.
might need to just stay my little butt at home.
You just might need to do that.
Well, Wanda, thank you for joining me, and
Oh,
take
Janice,
take
thank
a
you.
well-needed rest. And right now, I would have to say it's dinner time. Bon appetit. Guess
Thank
who's coming
you
to dinner? Who's coming on?
too. Take care. Thank you. God bless you, Janice. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
sweetie. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. That was Miss Wanda Mitchell Smith. She was the commissioner for the Juneteenth celebrations here in Louisville. She did a fabulous job. She had fabulous people working with her team, everyone from every different department of the city government that pitched in, every organization that pitched in, all the vendors that were given the opportunity to serve us. We applaud you. We thank you. You know, Black businesses need to make some money. So this was a really good time for all those things to happen. And so Juneteenth today. Now today is Monday, but today is the official holiday for Juneteenth. You hear me? It's official national holiday for Juneteenth, not just in Louisville, all over the world. Now, I don't know if the rest of the world's going to celebrate, but I know these states that's supposed to be united, Black folks, we celebrate. On that note, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed today's show, because it had a little bit of everything for you. The mayor's apology, the introduction to Miss Joy McAtee of Lean into Louisville, and the commissioner of the Juneteenth Festival for Louisville, Miss Wanda Mitchell Smith. I'm your host, Janice Carter Miller. I'm hungry. I got to go to dinner. Check you later. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. On that note, I have to say, bon appetit. See you next week.